Well, hello and welcome. My name's Jimmy if you're new here. This is going to be a bit of a, podcast style video where I'm going to give an update on what I've been up to and lay out some plans for the next few weeks, because race day is only 8 weeks ago. So I'm working towards the Bunbury Marathon, which is on April 13th. But before I get into it, I should probably apologise that the videos have been a bit thin lately, and that's partly because I've started a new job. So just been busy getting settled in with that and everything. So this footage you're watching, this was from a workout. It was a few weeks ago now, actually. I think 4 weeks ago. And as you can see, it's a bit overcast on this day, so proof that Perth isn't always clear blue skies and sun. So I think this was a 2 by 15 minutes at half marathon power workout. And it's a very hilly course, so you'll see that pace fluctuate quite a bit. But yeah, so as I said, 8 weeks away from race day now. And I mean, training's been going okay. I'm going to make quite a few changes for this second half of the training block. And there are a few reasons for that. So yeah, I don't know. I'll just start talking and hopefully it'll make sense at some point. So if you saw my last video, I did a park run that was a bit of a fitness test, and on one hand was really happy. I ran a pretty decent power PB, but didn't PB in terms of time. But I don't know. I wasn't feeling, I got a bit down about it, and I guess I've just been kind of stuck in my head a bit. If you're a regular here, you'll know that I do run everything alone, mostly due to the unsociable hours I have to run at. And yeah, I guess one of the drawbacks of doing everything by yourself is you can lose perspective pretty easily, especially depending on your personality. And I find that happens with me, quite easily. I start to beat myself up and second guess everything. So I thought myself into a bit of a hole. And that's because training, I just wasn't seeing the gains that I was hoping for or expecting. So nothing really seemed to be clicking. So I've made quite a few changes. So one of the big changes this week that I've really been enjoying is I now run without any data. So I still run wearing my watch to look at the data afterwards, but I haven't got anything displayed except for time of the intervals when I run. So this goes for all of my runs, easy runs, interval sessions. I do everything by feel now, and I've been absolutely loving it. It's been a lot more enjoyable and, dare I say, more productive. So why have I started doing that? Well, I started to feel like I don't know, I just thought it was a good idea, basically. So all these metrics we use for gauging intensity, we need to remember they're all surrogates for kind of gauging a metabolic state or making sure we hit the correct energy system or intensity level. So things like heart rate and pace, and in my case, power, they're useful, I think, especially for beginners when we're learning what these intensities are meant to feel like. But I think I've probably moved on from total beginner status to, I guess, an intermediate runner now. And I feel like I know what various intensities are meant to feel like. So I was interested to try just running without that. And with the goal to listening to my body more, I just felt like I was becoming a bit of a slave to the numbers. As fun as numbers are, it just wasn't doing much for me. They were just annoying me, basically, because they weren't saying what I wanted them to say. And it's been really interesting. So on my easy runs, I found a huge fluctuation in pace, even though my effort level is always the same on my easy runs. I find my pace has been fluctuating quite a lot. So they are quite a bit slower. So it's been fluctuating between 5:30 per K. And sometimes all the way up to 550 per K, which tells me that I was definitely overcooking some of my easy runs before. Because I need to remember, that they're recovery runs. I'm meant to be recovering. And I think before having that, because on the Stride app that I use, each kind of interval or session has got obviously a power target. and it goes green when you get it. And you know the way our brains work, I want the green thing. I always want to be, you know, feeling like I'm nailing everything. But with all workouts, as I'm discovering, but especially easy runs, you just don't need to be that specific with the target. Like, I know what an easy run is meant to feel like. And yeah, so it's been really good to see just how much that pace has fluctuated and to run according to what my body needs on the day. And even in intervals, I find I've been nailing the intensities. They felt really good. I haven't felt like completely dead as I sometimes do after them, because, you know, sometimes it depends on sleep, it depends on stress in your life, it depends on so many things. Sometimes you need to slow it down. You're still going to get the same stimulus, but it's going to be slower. And so I've been really loving just going for that intensity by feeling. And so it's brought more joy to running, and I think I'm a lot more relaxed. Like, I've just come back from my long run this morning and just had a great time this morning. It felt really good. Because I think I'd worked myself into such a state that, you know, I was probably tense running, you know, subconsciously just trying to think about all the things that I need to be, all the numbers I need to be hitting and all that stuff. So it was really nice to just be free from that. I had a great time. I was, you know, full of joy and happy the whole time and felt great at the end of it. And, you know, hit all the numbers really well. So, because I was really interested to see on like an extended interval, because on this long run I did a 40-minute interval at kind of marathon effort. So I was really interested to see how close I was going to be, you know, to the actual numbers, to how I felt, and it was absolutely dead on. But for some reason, everything just felt easier. Like, I was more relaxed. I felt like I was floating a lot more. Yeah, so that was really cool. And the interval sessions have been really good from that point of view as well. So that's been really good, running by feel. And actually, I've got a race coming up in 4 weeks now, actually, a 10K race, which I'm really looking forward to. And I've decided I'm actually going to race that with no data as well. I've never done that before, so this race, it's not an A race for me, it's a tune-up race, a fitness test kind of thing. Yeah, but I'm really looking forward to just racing that purely by feel and seeing where I end up at the end. So yeah, stay tuned for that one. So the other thing I'm changing up is, again, just listening to my body, is I've moved my harder sessions. So I was doing them on Tuesday and Thursday with a Saturday long run. But now I'm going to do my sessions on Monday and Thursday with the Saturday long run. And the reason being is that in the second session of the week, I was always feeling that I was still quite fatigued from the weight session from the days. So what I do is, on all my harder days, I do 2 runs and a weight session as well. So the weight session is in the evening, and even though, you know, so I do that weight session on a Tuesday, and then I've got the workout on the Thursday. The running workout on the Thursday is early in the morning, and that weight session was on the Tuesday evening. So, I mean, on one level it looks like there was 2 days recovery, but there's actually only 36 hours between those 2 sessions. And I could definitely feel that my muscles were fatigued, and I was carrying that fatigue into the next session. So I thought, I'm going to try just giving an extra day recovery between the 2 harder sessions for that reason. But you know, I'll have to see how it goes, because of course that means now that there's going to be less time between my long run and my next harder session. So I did my long run today, it's Saturday today when I'm recording this, and I've now only got 1 day off before my next session. So we'll just have to see how it goes. But I think it's gonna work well. I'm hoping anyway. Another change I'm making is I'm fueling my workouts a lot more, all of them. So even my easy runs. So in my, I guess, desperation to try and lose weight, I've been trying to cut back on fueling in strategic points. So I still have been fueling the harder workouts, but I've been doing all of my easy runs fasted. So I've stopped that. So I have about 60 grams of carbs before I head out on my easy runs in the morning now. Because, I mean, yes, they're still easy, but they're starting as this marathon block goes on, I'm extending them more and more. So next week, my easy runs in the morning will be an hour and 15 minutes. And then in the afternoon, there'll be 40-minute runs. So yeah, I think because what I was doing wasn't working. I wasn't losing weight, and I felt like I wasn't really gaining much fitness. So yeah, this is just all part of it. And I really enjoy experimenting. I love seeing what works, and I need to remember that. Like, this is meant to be fun, James. Come on. So yeah, I just need to remember that. So I'm fueling the easy runs, not during, just before. And also my harder interval sessions, I'm fueling a lot more. So I was trying to, fuel on the bottom end of things. I was kind of usually doing 40 to 50 grams of carbs per hour. But I'm trialing fueling a lot more. So I did that today on the long run, whereas previously I would normally fuel my long runs with only 75 grams of carbs for like a 2.5 hour run. This morning I had, I think, 125, and I felt a lot better this morning. Like, I felt like I could have gone and done another one. So, there are lots of variables, but I reckon that's probably down to... So I'm going to carry that forward. I'm going to keep fueling more. And, it really helps with recovery as well. I've been much more active and don't feel like I just need to lie down the rest of the day. So that's really good. And, that's not news to me. I've discovered that in the previous block, but I guess this block, I wanted to experiment with fueling less, just to see if I could lose more weight. And nope, that's not working. So we'll go back to fueling more. But, as I said, the long run this morning felt really good, and I've got a good feeling about this next block. So I'm looking forward to it. The other thing I'm changing is the training itself, actually. I'm going to change up my workouts again because I don't think it was the workout's fault that I'm not really progressing at the rate I'm wanting, because there are all those other factors. I'm trying to lose weight, I'm not fueling properly, I was tense, I was getting in my own head. But I've been doing pretty much the same sorts of workouts for over a year now, probably a year and a half, and they have been extending. So each time, the work interval gets longer, and naturally as I get fitter, the paces are increasing. But I just felt like I wanted to change it up. It's common knowledge that the human body doesn't respond well to just doing the same thing all the time. So I'm trialing some new sessions, and again, it's just made it more fun. So there'll be more details on that coming out, but I've got some different sessions lined up, and I'm trying not to plan too far in advance. I'm trying to take it week by week and really listen to my body. So that's like the motto for the coming block, is just to listen to my body, to relax and let it happen. And to change my goal from something really fixed, like I want to run sub 3, I've really been trying to reframe things so that now my goal more has to do with my mind and my heart. Like, I want to be in a good place in my mind. I want to be in a good place in my heart. I want to run with joy. I want to run with thankfulness and peace, and stop, because I'm just a hack. I'm just having fun here. Yes, I'm really excited to see how fast I can get, but come on, it's got to be fun, right? So I've tried to give myself some different goals rather than, just time goals. And I say all the time, we need to just let the fitness come and not to chase it. And, I've got all the right answers. It's one thing to say it, but it's another thing to actually, put it into practice and to live out of that, if you know what I mean. So anyway, so let's talk about the next few weeks. Here is a little graph I've done. So I intended to put this video out last week, so this is a 9-week. So I'm at the end of that first week now. So this is showing a few things. Obviously time, 9 weeks to race day, and the basic structure. So I've got a 4-week build now where I'm building mileage. And so this week you can see I've done, I think, just over 140 Ks. And next week will be about 150, etc. And I'll probably peak. So week 7 on this graph is my peak week, and it's probably going to be somewhere between 160 and 165 Ks. which is quite a lot. And I've been really happy with how my body is handling this. So the way I've been doing it, it's very straightforward. I just add 5 minutes to my easy runs each week. So every easy run, I've been adding 5 minutes, and I extend my long run by 10 minutes every week. And that's pretty much it. So, but obviously I'm not going to go on indefinitely. I'm going to listen to my body first and foremost, but I imagine that for my morning easy runs, I imagine I'll cap those at about an hour and a half. I don't think it's going to be beneficial to start running beyond that. I think even though I'm going to take them really slow, running much more than 90 minutes, it's not so easy anymore. So I think I'll cap those at 90 minutes, and the afternoon runs, I'm going to cap those at 45 minutes. And again, this is just my projection. I'll definitely be listening to my body. But I'm getting there, so I think at the moment, next week my morning easy runs will be at an hour and 15, and my afternoon runs will be at 40 minutes. So I'm kind of nearly there, and it feels absolutely fine. So when we're talking about mileage, I mean, I should stress that the breakdown of intensity of this, like a lot of it is easy. And that's really important. I've got 3 days where I put in intensity. Now it's a Monday, a Thursday, and during my long run as well. So I try and work pretty hard on those days, and everything else is just easy. And as I said, I've been running with no data. It's all by feel, just keeping it super chill, letting myself recover. And I've grown to love those afternoon runs, even though often it's the last thing I feel like doing because, it's summertime in Australia, and, we've had a lot of runs lately where it's been above 40 degrees Celsius. But I always feel a lot better. Like, it really does work for getting the blood flowing through muscles, and I always feel way better after those afternoon runs. So it's worth forcing myself out the door to do those. But anyway, so you can see I've got 4-week build and then a deload week on week 5. And that's where this 10K race is going to be. I'm actually really looking forward to that 10K race. I've only raced one 10K before in my life. And that was in my last marathon block. That was early August last year. This one will be different. It isn't a fast race at all. It's actually on these routes that you're watching right now. So the whole thing is on my regular training route. So I know it really well. It is very undulating. There's a lot of elevation gain and loss. So I don't think it's going to be a fast race, but I'm really looking forward to just giving it a good rip. So have not a full taper, but it's going to happen at the end of a deload week. So I'm hoping I'll be fresh enough to give it a good go. And I'll be running that without data, and really keen to do that. Also, I'm excited because I'm going to do this race in my race shoes for the marathon, which will be the first time I've run in them really. So I'll probably I will discuss it more like later on in the build. But I'm actually going to race in the Alpha Fly 3s. If you've been following me for a while, you might be surprised to hear that, because I haven't been a fan of that shoe and ended up returning a pair actually. But I'll explain why I'm going to do that at a later date. So I'll be having a kind of dress rehearsal in that race. I'll be wearing all my race kit, trying out my race shoes, which will be great. And then another 2 weeks of building where I'll hit about 165-ish Ks. And then we'll have a 2-week taper into the race. So when I look at it like this, it's all happening pretty quickly. But I'm really looking forward to it. So that's what's been going on with me. And as I say, the coming block, my big goals are kind of to do with the mind and the heart, to run with joy, to run with thankfulness. And I must say, it's already working. Like, I've really been enjoying running without any data. Just because the way my brain works, I feel like a failure if I don't hit those numbers. Even when I know that I need to back off, I still don't back off because I'm like, well, I've got to get that green light. I'm really looking forward to the coming weeks. And with the weight thing, yes, that still remains a goal, but I'm trying to be much more relaxed about it and not beat myself up. I hope, expect that it's going to happen quite naturally. And yeah, I'm hoping that just being more relaxed about it all will result in like less binges, and we'll just see where we end up. But yeah, thanks for watching. Hope that was vaguely interesting. I do have other videos that are nearly ready to go, so I'm hoping that it won't be so long between now and the next one. But thank you for joining, and you know, as always, comment below. I really do enjoy the comments. You know, not that there are many, but you know, the few of you who put down a word of encouragement or whatever, it really does help, because as I say, I do this solo, and I have a tendency to get inside my own head. So anyway, I'll catch you next time.